This is the triple murderer some people are calling a hero for taking the life of Ian Huntley. Already serving a whole life order at the time of the attack on Huntley, I can tell you Anthony Russell is the last man we want back on our streets, and I can also tell you why. Oh, hi there, stranger. Today I'm going to be telling you about the case of Anthony Russell, and this is also part 70 of the England's Whole Lifers list, so viewer discretion, as always, is advised. Anthony Russell was born on the 16th of April 1982 in Coventry. I don't have much on his background, but by the time of the events in question, he was a substance user, with his choice being the brown one. On the 21st of October 2020, Russell had David Williams over to his home. David was 31 and Russell was under the mistaken belief that David was having a relationship with his girlfriend. So Russell brutally attacked David, causing him 87 injuries. He then callously took David's life by strangling him with a lanyard before hiding the body under one of the beds in his home. 2 days later, after not having heard from her son, David's mother, Julie Williams, reported him missing. And 2 days after that, so the 25th of October 2020, Julie herself was reported missing by her sister. In those 2 days, it's believed that Russell went to Julie's house and she somehow found out that he had murdered David, and so he violently and viciously took Julie's life as well. The attack on Julie was just as brutal as that on David, and she sustained 113 injuries and she was battered over the head and neck. And so at this point, the police have got 2 missing persons and from the same family, and that is suspicious as hell. And so they forced their way into Julie's home, and that's when they discovered her deceased on her living room floor. Julie Williams was just 58 years old. So we have a supremely violent substance addict who has taken the lives of both mother and son over the course of a couple of days. And that is not all, because of course Russell needed money, and he specialised in getting that money by robbing the elderly. Around the time that Julie's body was discovered, Russell had robbed a 78-year-old man for his mobile phone and money, and used that money to flee Coventry. Police received a tip-off that Russell had been the one to take the life of Julie Williams, and so they raided his home on the 26th of October, and that's when they found David's body hidden under the bed. That same day, Russell was on public transport to Kenilworth, where he robbed a 71-year-old woman, dragging her along the ground before making off with £200. By now, a huge manhunt had been launched for Russell, but he was again on the move, using public transport to get to Leamington Spa, where he arrived in the afternoon. And that is where he met 31-year-old Nicole McGregor and her partner, just a chance encounter. They were seemingly also substance users. Nicole was 18 weeks pregnant and she showed Russell her scan photo. This part is a bit foggy, but for some reason, Russell and Nicole ended up alone and he lured her to Newbold Common under the guise of giving her substances. Or at least that's what's been reported. I don't know if Russell was the one to say that or how they know. So Russell and Nicole went to this relatively isolated area, and while there, he raped her and brutally attacked her, ending her life and, of course, the life of the baby that she was carrying. Russell even saw Nicole's partner later that day. Knowing what he had done to her, he said to the partner, quote, "I bet you can't wait to meet the baby." I have no words. 2 days after taking Nicole's life, Russell left the area on foot, as seen by witnesses. He chose another vulnerable victim, a 75-year-old man, and followed him home, forced his way inside and stole the man's car, a Ford C-Max. Nicole's body was found on the 29th of October in undergrowth, covered in scratches from being dragged through the woodland. And one of the biggest searches in recent history ended on the 30th of October, when Russell was finally located sleeping on the back seat of that stolen car. He was in Staffordshire when he was arrested. He confessed at the time of his arrest, saying, quote, "I admit it, I did it." And even though he didn't say anything in police interview, Russell did go on to plead guilty to the 3 murders, initially denying the rape of Nicole. And so he was put on trial for that charge, and the first trial ended in a hung jury, but at retrial, he was found guilty. At sentencing in 2022, the judge said, quote, "None of these crimes were random or motiveless. I have no doubt that this is a case which falls fairly and squarely within the description of being exceptionally serious. There were 3 murders. Each was separated in time and location. Each was the result of a separate murderous act which was sustained and brutal. Each involved the use of very significant violence. And he continued, quote, "This is one of those cases deserving of a whole life order. You will remain in custody for the rest of your life and will never be eligible to apply to the parole board for your release." And so Anthony Russell was given life at the age of 39. Fast forward 4 years to the 26th of February 2026, and Russell is now residing at HMP Franklin. And one of his housemates was Ian Huntley, who I am sure I don't have to tell you was convicted for the 2002 murders of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman. The 2 men were on some kind of work assignment together when an argument and then a fight broke out between the two. Russell allegedly beat Huntley over the head with a spiked metal bar so ferociously that a part of that metal bar stayed inside Huntley. He wasn't able to recover from his injuries and he died yesterday, the 7th of March 2026. Shame his suffering ended, but there we have it. I'll be covering the Huntley case next, so if you don't know the horrific details, stay tuned. So there you have it. That's the case of the guy who supposedly took Ian Huntley's life, each as much pond life as the other. 2 peas in a pod, both monsters. So strangers, well, it's okay to celebrate a bit of prison justice, especially when it's someone like Huntley. I think we should be a little bit careful who we're labelling as heroes. Please, as ever, stranger, let me know what you think of this case in the comments. And as always, if you've stayed with me up until now, then thank you for watching and I will see you for the next one.